All right, I'm in the back of Project Overlander here because we're going to get rid of the last of the funky smells with this. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda out here with my Jeep Commander, Project Overlander. This is a 20-year-old vehicle, and it's not actually in bad shape. It had a dog in it. There were some smells in it. I ran some vent cleaner through it, but there's just a little bit of that mustiness smell to it. And I think the reason is because these sunroofs look like they have been leaking, and that's part of it. So there were some water marks on the headliner there. I noticed there was some water sitting in the door sills. All that stuff can lead to some funkiness. You know, who knows? Someone spilled a Gatorade on the floor or something like that in the carpet. Try to clean up most of that, but just when you're trying to get rid of some of those organic smells, whether it is cigarette smoke or baby vomit or a dead squirrel or that beef gordita, then you can get rid of them with something like this. This is an ozone cleaner. I picked this up a little while ago. I actually really like this one. I used it in my house actually to get rid of some of the musty smell from my basement, some of my closets, and it's not very big. It's pretty small, and I think it's going to be perfect for this application. But one of the things that I love about it is it's got a timer right here. So when I turn it on, if I set the timer to like 60 minutes or 70 minutes or 2 hours, I can just let it run and I know it's going to shut off, and then I can let that ozone dissipate on its own, or at least you don't have to worry about it continuing to concentrate. In fact, if there were bugs in here, mosquitoes or flies or something like this, and you leave this ozone generator running, I think you'll come back and they'll be dead. So you might have to do a little vacuuming up unless you like those bugs in there. I like having a little company when I'm driving. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to plug this into the extension cord, and I'm just going to run this for about an hour here. Let it sit, germinate, pregnate, and sanitize the interior of this car. Get rid of the last of the smells, even this little organic material here, like the little leaves and sticks and things like that. Hopefully it should smell pretty neutral. Now, the ozone actually has kind of a weird smell, and it does linger. So if that's going to bother you, you're going to want to do this in a car that you're not going to drive for a while. And in fact, when it's done, you might want to open up the windows, set it outside. Hopefully the weather's nice, but it's going to kind of have a smell for a little while. I've noticed that it's usually 2 or 3 to 1. So if you run something like this for an hour, you can have that smell lingering even in pretty well ventilated spaces for a couple hours. So I'm not going to drive this car in the near term here, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this plugged in, and we will start ozoning the hell out of this Jeep. So here is the ozone generator. I'm going to turn it to, why don't we do 90 minutes? Let's really cook this interior here. I'm going to go ahead and flip the power switch on. You can see those little purple lights. I guess that is the ozone generator. It's got a fan to move things around, and it says use in an unoccupied space only, and that is going to be this car. So now I'm just going to go ahead and close this up, and we'll come back to it much later from now and see what I think. See if it actually gets rid of everything else. Actually, I could smell a little whiff of that ozone. It basically smells like chlorine, but it smells like you're walking into a public pool. So as soon as you turn that thing on, you get that smell. All right, so we'll wait and check it out. All right, back out in the garage, because it's been actually like 2.5 hours. So the ozone generator is now completely done, and I'll prove it to you. Even though it's lit up here, you'll see no purple light. Now, what's interesting is I just opened the garage and I could smell the ozone. As soon as I popped open the back of that, wow, that was overwhelming. So I'm glad that got the garage open here to air out that ozone, because whew, I've actually never smelled it that concentrated before. I mean, it really does smell like pool chlorine. And I guess it's kind of what it is. And chlorine keeps water from growing things and keeps the pee from infecting you, I guess. So I guess that's what it's doing. Whew. I mean, it's actually really strong right now. So the thing is, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to leave this open, roll down the windows. Obviously, the car is meant to circulate air from the outside, so that's why the garage smells like that too, but certainly smells most concentrated right here. Enough that I wouldn't want to get in there because I think it would start inducing a headache. So I'm going to get this out here, let the car air out for hours. Like I said, 3-4 times as long as you've actually run it. It just kind of seems to impregnate the fabrics and all that. Does its work and then kind of slowly dissipates. That smell kind of slowly dissipates. So glad I don't have to drive anywhere in it right now, but I will check back much later and tell you what the results are. Okay, just a quick follow-up. I've had the doors open here for only about 10 minutes, and I was doing some other stuff, and then I just came back here to give it a little sniff, and I'll tell you what, opening it up and venting out that air gets rid of most of it. I mean, it's like 10 minutes later, and I could definitely jump in this and drive away. I can still smell it. I can still smell that chlorine-like smell. It actually smells like really hot metal. Like when a computer starts to overheat, that's kind of what it smells like to me. Just like when dusty metal starts getting warmed up, you know, you start a wood burning stove after a long period of time of just sitting. That's what it kind of smells like. It's got kind of just this metallic, slightly obnoxious, not really pleasant, but not like offensive, like a fart. You know what I'm saying? So 10 minutes later, I could definitely drive this, but to get rid of the rest of it, I'm just going to leave these doors open here, and it's just going to vent. It's the same way I use the fly on the front of my pants, you know? Got to let everything breathe once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Smell still, that kind of public pool smell a little bit, which does have just like a little bit of a stinging sensation to the nose, but most of it is gone. I mean, I'd probably say 80% of it is gone. My guess is it's probably going to need a day to get rid of that other 15 or 20% of that smell. But right now, I don't think there's anything in here that could have survived that. It was so strong. So if you had bugs, or I know a lot of people will use this for cigarette smoke, or stuff stained in here, or a dead carcass, or spilled milk, or whatever, this is a great way to get rid of that. It's like fumigating your car without the noxious fumes, at least. So I really like it. It's a great way to kind of just reset the car. I wouldn't say it gives the car a fresh, clean smell, but it gets rid of smells. And so if you want to add some smell back, you can get some of those odor bombs and some of that kind of stuff, the air fresheners, the pine tree, the Stetson for her, whatever you want to use. And I might throw one of those odor smoke bombs in here just to kind of give it a little bit of that smell that I'm looking for. But man, I love taking a used car that maybe has just a little hint of that unfreshness and giving it kind of a reboot and getting rid of all those smells that you don't know where they came from. So if you want to pick up one of these ozone generators for your car, I'm doubting it's as bad as Project Overlander, but it worked in this Jeep Commander. So you can try it too on your next used car purchase. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda out.